All right, to go ahead and keep us on time, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us this morning. My name is Natalie Guest, and I'm the Director of EIGS with the Magnolia Business Alliance. And this morning we have Danny Scanlon with GSA. He's the Customer Service Director for GSA for the Southeast Sunbelt region. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Danny.
Hey, thank you, Natalie, and I'm Danny Scanlon. For those of you that hopefully are dialed in, I'm Danny Scanlon with the U.S. General Services Administration and GSA. I'm the Customer Service Director. My email address, for those of you that can't see it, it's Danny, D-A-N-N-Y, SCANLON @gsa.gov. My phone number, in the event that you have questions, is 228-342-9092. And all right, without further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what is GSA, and I'm making the assumption that there's businesses that are on GSA contract, and then there's businesses to look to find out what a GSA schedule is, what it's like to do business with GSA, and also what is the process for getting on schedule. Another topic we'll talk about is how to work with GSA. I'll briefly go over what is a schedule. We'll talk about Schedule 70, and then, as you can see on the slides, we're going to talk about a brand new special item number that GSA has just recently put into effect, and its whole design is to basically bring new technology, Earth observations and solutions that the private sector is already developing, and they can bring those solutions to the market. And with special item number 13241, Earth observation solutions, this has really taken off to federal buyers. And as a customer service director, I'd like to share how the buyers of the federal government is using this solution. So if this is what you do for a living, hopefully in the next 30 minutes, this presentation will allow everyone that's involved to see that there is a new schedule, there's a new SIN, and then hopefully this might be a good fit for companies that want to get on schedule, or at least for those that have a schedule, get their contract modified to add this new SIN to their schedule. All right, and then I'd want to talk about the Fast Track program, how to, if you have an IT solutions, how to get your information technology solutions onto a GSA schedule, and this new process can take up to 30 days. So hopefully this is all new stuff to everybody that's on here. If not, then hopefully it might jog some memories, and we'll go from there. All right. So the very first thing I want to show is going over, and I want to explain what exactly is a schedule for those that just want to kind of get an idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this over. All right. Natalie, can you see the slide?
Yes, okay. I can.
Okay, great. So what I want to do is, just to give everybody an idea, all I'm doing is I'm going to GSA and working with business. There's an entire slide presentation on the website that can show what schedules would best fit, how do I do business with the government, how do I get started. So and what is a schedule? So here's the best way I can explain it for those folks that, without getting all technical. If you take a regular filing cabinet and you had 39 drawers, the GSA has 39 schedules, and if you were to pull open a drawer, and within that drawer there's dividers. So the drawers would be called schedules, the dividers would be called SINs, or special item numbers. So the way the General Services Administration has organized goods, services, is it puts them into these schedules, and then it further divides them out by special item numbers. So hopefully that kind of gives everybody an idea where we're going. All right. So when we look at Schedule 70, I want to show everybody how the GSA finds these solutions. So what I do is I go over into GSA IT Library, and I know it's kind of hard to see on some of these slides, but you go into GSA IT Library, and if you're a vendor that wants to be on it, or maybe you're a vendor already performing these services, come into the search box, put in Earth observation, it auto-populates, and then once you hit search, it'll bring you into Schedule 70, SIN number 13241. And the value to what I'm going to show you is, maybe you don't have a contract, but you want to see the competition that's already on schedule, they've already got contracts, and they're already doing business with the government. So what I want to show you is, now that you know that Earth observation is under Schedule 70, it's in SIN 13241, click on the red hyperlink for 13241, and it shows currently there are 31 contractors already on GSA schedule performing Earth observation under this SIN. And what's kind of nice about this is you can look at any one of these contractors, and I'm just going to pick the first one out here. It's Aerial Services, and they're out of Cedar Falls, Iowa. So you can click on Aerial Services. You can see the website of the company. You can see where they're from. You can look at their DUNS number, their NAIC code, and more importantly, you can figure out what GSA contract officer is appointed over this vendor. And what I always like to show potential vendors is, you can pull, if you already know the name of your competitor and you're not on schedule, you can pull this company up, find out what schedule they're already using. And then the best thing about this is you can look at the contractor's terms and conditions in their price list. So if you look at the T&Cs, you can actually pull open the contract of the vendor that's been negotiated with the General Services Administration. So in this particular example, Aerial Services Incorporated has a contract for special item number 13241. And if you're interested in building a proposal to get on contract for doing what you're doing, here's a template that's already been approved. And you can do this for each one of these other companies that are on GSA, get an idea of what their contracts are. And then more importantly, if you're already on a GSA contract, you can do a modification by going back to eLibrary, finding out who the contracting officer is, and requesting a modification to get added to the new SIN. Is there any questions so far from anybody on the line? Okay. All right. What I want to do is I want to start off with some of the objectives, and I'm just going to go through some of the slides. Right now, under Schedule 70, again, this new Earth observation SIN is so brand new, it only came out a few months ago, but they realized with all this emerging technology for satellites and everything else, cameras, everything else that's out there, this was needed and requested by our customers. So the whole background on all this is, as a customer service director, one of our functions is to educate the buyer or the federal government on this new SIN, and obviously to connect potential vendors to get added to the Earth observation SIN. All right, when we look at this, one of the biggest things is it provides the customer for a solution to get all of the imagery, to go out And when that customer is doing market research, and this is the most important thing I emphasize to all the vendors, the biggest success about being on a GSA schedule is once the customer starts doing market research and you're on a GSA contract, when they get ready to submit a request for quote, only the vendors on this Earth observation special item number will have the opportunity to provide a return quote. All right. All right, as we kind of go through the back, this is more just background information. Basically, this whole additional SIN has been out less than 4 or 5 months now, and we basically just bringing this thing online. It's getting very successful, especially with a lot of our larger federal agencies, and more importantly, the opportunity to get on the Schedule 71 and this Earth observation solution. It's providing our customers with a lot of opportunities and a lot of solutions. So what we kind of went over in the GSA library is that I showed you the vendors that were already there. I showed you how to go into the GSA library, find where Schedule 70 is. I've identified 13241 as the Earth observation solution. And then more importantly, as a potential vendor, where can I find contracts for like or similar businesses like my own? And I showed you how to go to the contractor T&Cs. And the next point, this next slide talks about examples, but the reality is from a vendor position, what I want to kind of do is explain the buying process a little more clear. So if you're a potential vendor and you want to get on schedule, here's how it really works. So as a customer service director, I go into NASA, I go into the Navy, the Air Force, DoD customers, and they ask, hey, I've got this requirement. Can you please help me find vendors to fit this solution? So in the market research process to try to find solutions for the customer, what we inherently do is we do a scope review of their specifications or their performance work statement. And then what I just showed you on here, we go in a GSA library, we try to match the best schedules and the best special item numbers. And then once we get the special item numbers, then the government contracting officer will go in and they'll start building a request for quote. And what I'll do is I'll kind of show folks how that kind of works. All right. Are there any questions so far from anybody on the phone or anybody out there just kind of listening in?
Danny, I just want to let you know that I've muted most people, and so if anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and please feel free to type them in the chat, and we can address them as they come up.
Perfect. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. In the next portion of this, the General Services Administration has realized that it takes on average anywhere between 6 to 12 months to get on a schedule. So what the General Services Administration has had to do to keep up with technology is advancing so far that by the time the vendors are getting on schedule, a lot of the agencies don't have time to wait for it to get on schedule. So what they've done is they've come up with a brand new process called GSA Fast Lane. And you can go to GSA, type in Fast Lane. And what this is allowing vendors that have IT solutions, it's allowing for these new solutions and new technologies to get on the IT 70 schedule in as little as 45 days, which is a huge advance when you consider that the other schedules, other services, and other goods, it's still taking up to a year to clear the negotiations and the contract proposal process. So anybody that has an IT solution or wants to be considered for a GSA contract, GSA Fast Lane is one of the most amazing quickest ways to actually get on a government schedule, general services schedule. All right. And then what I encourage everybody to do that's interested is just simply go to Fastlane at gsa.gov and then go from there. And the next thing I'd like for all those folks that aren't already on schedule is I'd like to at least point out that if you're already on schedule, this process allows current vendors to do a modification and add your new technology. And I've seen it done as in a little as 7 days, the modification for new technologies. For all new vendors or potential vendors, I'd like to direct everybody to the GSA Vendor Support Center. Here's kind of the website where you can get training. You can figure out if just doing business with the government is really in the best interest of your business. You can kind of gauge and see if you're ready or not. And then this is the toolbox on how to get started. So when you go through, again, I just wanted to present some tools to everybody that was potentially looking at getting on the schedule. This is really the opportunity to sit down and kind of self-educate. And then more importantly, once you think you are at that position to either get on schedule or to move forward to submit a proposal, take a look at this website, and then you have my phone number, you have my email address, and I can certainly be the bridge between the website and any questions that you may have. And it's always free service, and if you hit roadblocks, and I'll be glad to come down and visit with you, or we can talk it over the phone and try to get you in the right direction. All right. All right, and we already kind of hit on the IT Schedule 70 contract onboarding process. Right off the bat, go into the GSA library, Schedule 70, look for the SIN number 132, 141. Look at all the folks that are doing it now. Look at their contracts. Look at all those other opportunities. And then if you're a new vendor, you'll look for an e-offer and start with the fast track process I just showed you, and obviously use the vendor support center to get you started. Everything under the new special item number complies to the FAR, and as I shared with you before, the dynamics between the customer and the customer service director, again, you can go, the customer has the option to go FedBiz Ops or can go GSA. So as the GSA customer service director, our primary purpose is to help the customer find a solution. And then using GSA tools, using GSA vendors, using the GSA e-buy process. Now the e-buy process is a process where the customer's doing market research, they use a GSA solution, and they submit that RFQ, request for quote, out to all those vendors on this process. So just because you're on a GSA schedule, just because you're on a SIN, it's not a guarantee of any future business, but it is a guarantee that when an opportunity comes out, your organization will have the opportunity to respond to provide a quote for that requirement. All right. So this kind of shows you the purchasing requirements, and then these are some of the vendors that we already kind of showed in e-library that are already on the schedule 132, and Earth observation, and then they're building every day. More vendors are getting on this SIN. So according to the General Services Administration, this Earth observation, this brand new SIN, it was put in place because the demand is not only is it high demand for it now, but they expect that this Earth observation technology will continue to be a demand for purchasing, whether it's for tracking weather patterns, water trackings over the oceans, and any other Earth observation requirement that's out there. But this is going to be one of these exploding opportunities that we're basically promoting to all of our federal customers, and then more importantly, to reach out to the vendors to show them the opportunities of how the government is streamlining solutions to provide for federal customers. All right. On that point, here's a list of all of the websites where we've kind of hit. And while I know this is a webinar, I really want to take the time and just say, anybody that's really interested in doing this, shoot me an email, call me. I'll come down to Stennis. I'll come down to the Gulf, wherever you're at, and we could talk more in depth. And at this point, what are your questions?
Okay, I went ahead and unmuted everyone. So if anybody has any questions, this is the time to ask. Or if you feel more comfortable contacting Danny directly, you can definitely do that. I know he provided us his contact information at the beginning. Also, this webinar is being recorded, so we will be posting it to the MBA YouTube channel, and I will be able to provide that link to everyone this afternoon in case you want to re-watch it or share it with others.
Natalie, I guess what I would add it to is if anybody, I'm throwing my information out there, and I know this is kind of a general awareness, certainly offline if people have questions, we can go into this at length. And of course, I see Tina and I see Envision. I think we've talked in Envision before. And then I see Amy Fletcher. All of these things that we've just talked about, this is really dynamic technology that's evolving. So please feel free to reach out and let me know what your questions are.
Thanks, Danny.
You're welcome.
All right, well, if nobody has any questions, we'll go ahead and end the webinar. Like I said, I'll go ahead and send everybody the link to the recorded webinar. Danny has posted in the chat his phone number and his email address as well. So, Danny, thank you again for your time this morning and going over the GSA Fast Track and the website. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to working with you again in the future.
Thank you, Natalie. Everybody have a great day.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.